What's up everyone, it's your FPL Thinking Cap Benji and welcome back to Best FPL Captain. Last game week we had Cole Palmer in at number 1 and he blanked. He did pick up a bonus, but overall we had a pretty bad set of results again. That's the second blank we've had in a row. And look, the captaincy points, they were pretty low last week, but we aim for perfection. Let's see what we've got in store in 17. Thinking Cap activated. This was my rankings for 16, and even though Palmer blanked, we still matched Saka on points. We only lost 4 points against Salah captain, so it's definitely not the end of the world. ISAK was actually the best cap on last week's shortlist. I think it's safe to say the wildcard captain is back, but in terms of best cap, it's 2 blanks in a row. We're in a little captaincy rut at the moment, which I'd love to get out of. So let's move into the shortlist for 17, which sees the same 4 premiums on the shortlist once again. ISAK has a great fixture on paper away to Ipswich. Both him and Saka are the Saturday options. ISAK plays at 3 PM and Saka has the 5:30 kickoff at Selhurst Park. Palmer and Salah are the 2 Sunday options. Salah will play in the final game of the match week against Tottenham. Palmer has Everton away at 2 PM. Obviously, he smashed Everton at home last season, but if we analyze the historical records, Palmer blanked in this exact fixture last season, where he got 1 point and a yellow card. ISAK has a decent record against promoted teams away from home, returning 4 GA in 4 starts, 1 double-digit haul in there as well, but in terms of reliability, I'm not too sure he's your man. He's blanked in 2 of those 4 starts. Saka has a good history at home to Palace, but away from home, he's only returned 1 GA in 4. All 3 of his other away starts were blanks. Salah has started away to Spurs 7 times, but it's not his most preferred fixture. Only 4 involvements in those ones. Salah blank rate, look, it's not amazing at 43%, but that is the lowest percentage out of all 4. So historically, you could say that Salah is the most reliable option. Salah is the clear standout when we take a look at game day performance. In his last 5 Sunday away matches, Salah has delivered 3 double-digit hauls and he's blanked in just 1, which is why his points form is also the highest. He leads in all 5 categories, and the key thing to take away from Salah's dataset is the consistency. Look at the blank rate, just 32%. If we compare that to all of the other 3 options, it's just miles better. He's been amazing away from home on Sunday, and that's something that can't be said about Cole Palmer. Yes, Coley did smash 18 points in his last Sunday away match, but he got 2 pens against Spurs in that one, and without that game in his dataset, Palmer's return rate, his form, and his average points would all nosedive off of a cliff. He doesn't have the worst set though. That is ISAK, who has never scored 10 or more points in a Saturday away fixture. He's blanked in around 70% of starts on this game day as well, so it's not looking too good from him. Saka looks to be the best Saturday option due to ISAK's unreliability, but even then I still have concerns with some of Bukayo's data points, like his blank rate, return rate. Both of them do worry me a little bit, so right now Salah 100% is the top dog. Moving into the game time comparison, and Salah dominates the competition. He's blanked just once in his last 5 4:30 PM kickoffs away from home, and he has the lowest blank rate. Once again, it's miles better than the other 3, and his form has been insane as well in the Sunday late kickoff. In terms of form, I do think Bukayo Saka is a close second. In 5:30 PM away kickoffs, he's averaged just 0.2 less than Salah in terms of form, so Saka is creeping into the low 8s, which is always a good sign for explosive potential. Palmer has a strong return rate, and he has the best double-digit haul rate, but he's only started 3 games at this kickoff time, so I'm not really taking too much out of his dataset because it's not big enough to deduct things from. ISAK disappoints once again, 0 double-digit hauls in 3 PM away matches, and on top of that, his form is the worst out of all 4. Overall, definitely Salah, who has the strongest data profile, with Saka, Palmer, and ISAK quite a way off. Although ISAK's kickoff data might be poor, I do think he's got the most targetable fixture this weekend. Ipswich conceded 1.8 goals per game, and according to their XGC per game, they should have conceded a few more goals on top of that. They're also averaging the most defensive errors per game, and they've conceded almost 2 more big chances compared to the other 3 clubs. So I do think they are the most targetable. From a matchups perspective, ISAK does also get a big green tick. Ipswich have conceded the most chances in the central and left-hand zones, which is exactly where ISAK loves to operate. Tottenham, I would say, is probably the next most targetable fixture, and that's less to do with the underlying numbers, but more to do with the fact that they face Man United in the Cup quarterfinals on Thursday, and their squad has already been crushed by injuries this season. Udogie's been struggling for fitness, and he could be out for the Liverpool game, but even if he's not, I still think Spurs' backline are there for the taking. Matchups wise, Salah doesn't get the same green tick as Isak though. Spurs have conceded the least amount of chances down Salah's wing, but I still think that it's a great fixture for Mo, considering, Archie Gray, Dragusin, Fraser Forster, all likely to be starting in that back four. Everton and Palace are of a similar level to Spurs from a data perspective, but after watching 65 minutes of the Arsenal-Palace game in the Cup, I would say that I think Arsenal will do quite well in that game just because Palace's midfield, they're going to get run past, man. They're going to concede a few chances 100%. Even though it is at Selhurst Park, I still think Saka and Odegaard will link up nicely because I don't think Oliver Glasner has the personnel available to counteract that duo. Deitch and that Everton team, look, they're very predictable. You know what they're going to do. They're going to park the bus against Chelsea, guaranteed. He's going to keep the midfield very tight, very compact, and I don't think Palmer will have access to the same amount of space and time he did last season at Stamford Bridge. 3 out of 4 premiums received the full 7 days rest before 17. Salah actually gets 8 days of rest because he played Saturday last weekend and he'll play Sunday this weekend. So he gets an extra day on top of Saka and Palmer. He didn't even travel out to Southampton in the midweek, so he doesn't have any extra fatigue, and I do think he's pretty nailed for a 90-minute cameo. I've gone 88 because there is a teeny chance Liverpool are cruising and he gets the early sub because, Harvey Elliott, Jota, not Nunez, they have more subs now, so I do think there's a small chance of that, but still I think he's good for enough minutes that can do the damage. Saka hasn't traveled at all during the midweek, and he won't be traveling much on Saturday because Crystal Palace is obviously in London. He did get 20 minutes off the bench in the Cup, and he notched an assist as well. Palmer has the strongest minutes because I do think there's a low probability he doesn't get the full game. I think it's going to be a tight game, and he's also got a 7-day rest gap, so I don't really think that he will be of risk for lower minutes. He will also have to travel to Goodison for that game, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue with the full week of recovery. It's actually Isak who's the one that comes out of this section really looking the worst. He started against Brentford on Wednesday in the Cup quarterfinals and played 77 minutes. He did look a little tired at the end, a little sluggish, and considering the turnaround is only 3 days to Ipswich, and the fact that it's also an away game, I would say this definitely impacts his minutes potential. And if we head into the Game Week 17 rankings, it's no surprise that Isak gets wildcard spot once again. He's not the most durable player, and considering the fact that he's played 77 minutes midweek, I can't really recommend him for captaincy. He's got the highest probability of coming off after in half an hour because he is injury prone. He does come off with little knocks. He's not somebody who says, okay, I'm just going to play through the pain. The fixture is good though, I will say. It is very, very nice, and Isak is in good overall form, but midweek minutes is a problem for him. His historical record against promoted teams is just average, and his kickoff profile doesn't point to any explosive potential. It actually suggests unreliability, so Isak has just too many red flags for me. In second place on my rankings is Bukayo Saka, and he is a very good option. And after watching the Palace game midweek, I do think Tyreek Mitchell is there for the taking. He has the explosive potential at the 5:30 kickoff. We captained him a couple weeks ago. He got 18 points at that kickoff time away from home against a London team. Could be quite interesting if you were interested in a Saka captain. Look, he hasn't done any significant travel over the week. His minutes projections are also strong. There's not much not to like here apart from the fact that I do respect Crystal Palace's defense. They are one of the only teams to play in a back three almost every game week. I do think Glasner will double up on him after how effective that strategy was for Deitch the week before. And not to mention Guehi is also on that side. So I do see Guehi kind of coming into that press on Saka. So that is realistically my problem. It just kind of lowers his ceiling when he's getting doubled up. Saka's form has also dropped a little bit over the last 2 weeks, and I do prefer one of the Sunday captain options, which moves us into my best captain for 17. It's Mo Salah, of course. He's got a fantastic kickoff data set. He's fully rested, and Spurs are off the back of like 3 or 4 weeks playing Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. So I'm expecting a pretty strong lineup this Thursday as well from Postecoglou. I'm recording this on the night before that game, so I won't know how Man United Tottenham plays out in the Cup quarterfinals. All I know is that Postecoglou will have to start multiple first-team players on Thursday, and Liverpool rotated really nicely against Southampton, so I'm expecting a handful of Liverpool goals and hopefully some big involvement from the GOAT of FPL. Palmer is in third place. I don't really like Palmer over Saka this week just because Everton have no injuries apart from McNeil. Their defense is really good, and Dyche will pack that midfield really tight like he did against Arsenal, so I don't think this is going to be an easy game for Chelsea. I think it's going to be a pretty tight game in all honesty. Not too many goals. Obviously, Palmer destroyed them last season at home, but I'm sure Branthwaite and Pickford won't have forgotten about that, and they'll be very up for this game big time with the relegation scrap so close right now. Everton are also in really good form, so it's just not a fixture I really want to captain against. Palmer will be the second highest EO, so I wouldn't be expecting any gain from Coley unless you have him as your Game Week 17 captain. If you enjoyed this one, then drop a like. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace.